What's up, real ones? And in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you a big ass pimple on my face. I'm not sure how well it's showing up on camera. I try to have my makeup people cover it up, but you know, somebody might need to get fired. But this pimple here has a very long history with me. It's been hurting in this spot for years. For years it felt like there was a pimple there, but it never turned into a pimple. Well, a couple of days ago, it decided it wanted to turn into one of those pimples, that are like a dime size, and they just get bigger and hurt more every day, but never really come to a head. It's like this pimple is trying to identify as a tumor, and maybe it would just explode on camera, and finally I will go viral. But tumor or no tumor on my face, there's absolutely nothing in this world that's gonna stop me from exposing these fake autistic motherfuckers. Welcome to part 4. And if you have no idea what a fake autistic person is, then that means you got 3 other beautiful, wonderful parts you can catch up on, or you can just watch this. So you already know. Let's view it.
One thing I don't understand about neurotypical people is their little social hierarchies. Like, no, being in a group doesn't make you superior to another person. Being the majority and bullying the minority doesn't make you better. And they really think that we can't see past all the social dynamics going on. We know that when there's a big group, there's always little groups in between. There's always duos, there's always trios. And they're always talking behind each other's back. Why is this so normalized? Tell me why neurotypical friend groups are the normal way of having friends, when usually they just stab each other in the back. And anyone who's even slightly different is bullied so much to the point that they don't even want to show their face. Now, why do we call that behavior normal? Tell me that.
Is she talking about high school girls or the Atlanta Housewives? Because I don't know any grown friend groups, first of all, that have a hierarchy. My friends are just my friends. There's no leader of the group. And secondly, if they're backstabbing me or somebody else, that would mean they're not their friend. Tell me this, is there anybody out there in a friend group and the friend group has a hierarchy? As an adult, not in high school, not in a gang, not in the Freemasons, just as a regular ass group of friends. Do you guys have a hierarchy? Is this an actual thing? Maybe I'm just not noticing. Maybe I did have a friend boss and I just didn't realize it. But besides all that, nobody likes hierarchies, especially ones that are bullying the people below them. You don't have to be autistic not to like that. And not liking it doesn't make you autistic. All right, this next one is just a still picture with a question answer on it.
As an autistic person, what's one thing people underestimate about you?
Now, as non-autistic people, do you think what they're gonna say is gonna be different from what you would say? Let's find out. Blues Clues, Blues Clues. You know what to do. All right, let's check out these comments. Okay, one thing people underestimate about Faye Like Asai is
that I can cut you out of my life and it really won't affect me that much because my entire world is in my head.
Well, we all know, not being autistic, anytime we cut someone out of our lives, it crumbles us. We can barely move on because our entire world is outside our head. Laura Wright, 42, said,
my ability to read people and understand nonverbal communication or see every look and hear all passive aggression. I pick up on everything.
Well, as a non-autistic person, I can't see passive aggressiveness. It just goes over my head. I'm like, was that passive aggressive? Are they lying or not? God damn it, I'm so damn gullible. If I only had a sprinkle of autism in me, then I would be able to tell and read people better. What does people underestimating your ability to read other people have to do with you being autistic? Is it not possible to underestimate a non-autistic person's ability to read people? So with this logic, non-autistic people are not ever underestimated in their abilities. Okay, let's check one more comment, then move on.
To be able to tell a good person from a fake.
You mean a real person from a fake? A good person from a bad would make sense, but a good person from a fake person? When if the fake person is always faking being good? Are they now a good person?
To know when someone is lying. Also, people think I am very, very quiet and calm. I'm not. I'm dealing with staying quiet because you won't like the things I want to say.
So someone is underestimating that he can tell a good from a fake person, know when someone is lying, and that he's quiet and calm? But he has all kinds of mean thoughts in his head? You're just lucky he won't let them out? So now he's autistic? Do you know how many people don't say what's on their mind? Just about everybody. Just about everybody has come across a situation, whether it's a boss, a cop, somebody giving you attitude, and you were cussing them out in their head, but you didn't say a thing. Just about everybody does that. There's a very small portion of the population that will say what they mean and mean what they say, no matter what the situation is. There's only a small portion of the population that are like DMX, and I'm one of them. That's why I piss people off, but I don't really care. I guess if I was autistic, I'd be like, oh, I got some things that would piss you off, but I'm gonna make you think I'm quiet by being quiet.
One of my biggest pet peeves is speaking to neurotypical individuals, and when you ask them a question, it never gets answered. Instead, they get offended. You'll be like, hey, what is said task? Why am I doing said task? And they respond with, oh, so you don't want to do it. That's not what I said. I just want to know why we're doing said task. And the thing about it is, neurodivergent individuals were usually speaking more logical, more direct, and that directness is always interpreted as aggression or assertiveness or even arrogance. And the whole time in my mind, I'm just thinking, I want to know why we're doing said task. And usually when I do find out why we're doing said task, I find a more efficient and effective way to do said task. Instead, I'm bombarded with accusations of assertion and aggression. And the question never actually gets answered. They're just like, oh, so you don't want to do it. You could just go home. You could just leave. Like, what are we talking about? Just answer the fucking question.
Bruh, that's not autism. That's called your girlfriend. But seriously, off of this logic, if you want to know if your boss is autistic or not, just ask him why you're doing the task. If he gets pissed, then he's neurotypical. But if he explains it to you, then he's autistic. Most of these videos just show if these people were really autistic, which they're not, but if they were, they're just showing that autistic people don't understand the dynamics of people and communication. But for some reason, in reverse, when they talk about autistic people, they get that there's all kinds of variations of them, spectrums, everybody's different, responds different. But if it's a person without autism, they think they're all the same. That all non-autistic people feel the same, respond the same, have the same opinions, and I have no idea where they get that from. But it does show a huge lack of intelligence on their side, which is ironic because the whole time they're trying to preach and sell to us that they're superior intellectually. Go figure.
Networking doesn't make sense to autistic people because it doesn't make sense to use other people to get to where you want to go. It doesn't make sense to befriend people that you don't want to be friends with. It doesn't make sense to have conversations that you're not interested in. And that is why autistic people tend to get where they're going on their own or with just friends, because they don't understand networking. They don't understand why you'd scratch somebody else's back and like not somebody else's, why you'd butter up to somebody and not somebody else. And it is confusing. I don't understand it either, but that is why autistic people don't network. Like most successful autistic people tend to make it there themselves with like a brilliant idea or like a, something that they did individually, like they're a model or something like that. It's not because of their net worth. Okay. People say your network is your net worth. For most autistic people, their net worth is just straight up like what they accomplished. Okay. And like what they did. So that's why most autistic people cannot even conceptualize networking or what the point is, because why lie and have fake conversations at all?
It's just so weird to me when you make a video clip about why lie or be fake while lying and being fake. She admitted that an autistic person can be a model.
They're a model or something like that.
Does she really think that autistic person didn't have to network to be a successful model? Does that even exist? Of course it doesn't exist. Even if you're just networking to people you run into on the streets, online, at the mall, wherever it is to get your name out there to be that model, that is networking. Anytime you're connecting with people for the purpose of promoting yourself, that's networking. Not all networking is you going to a big ass party at a penthouse and rubbing elbows with the top-notch people of the world. Well, not top-notch, top rich people of the world. Probably like the worst people in the world when it comes to morale. And in fact, I can almost guarantee you that this girl right here networks.
I should have known I was neurodivergent when I was like 10, thinking, why do people give in to peer pressure? Like, I still don't get it to this day. I don't get it. And I remember being a kid not getting it, because first of all, if people are pressuring you, and these are your friends, trying to pressure you into doing something that you already said you don't want to do, why would you want to be friends with those people? Like, I'm sorry, but they clearly don't respect you or your boundaries. Like, you said you don't want to do this thing. You said this makes you uncomfortable. Or if you haven't said that, they clearly know that it makes you uncomfortable and you don't want to do it because they're pressuring you into doing it. And you wouldn't need to pressure someone into doing it if they were comfortable doing it, because they would just do it. Do you know what I mean? And I remember being a kid having this exact same thought process and being like, why would I want to be friends with them though? If they're trying to pressure me into something I clearly am not comfortable doing. And I still have the exact same thought, because why? I still don't get it. I don't want to fit in with people who are trying to pressure me into doing something I don't want to do. I really don't.
Well, first off, she's messing up the whole phrase of peer pressure. The first time any of us ever heard that phrase was when we were kids and they would talk about drugs and stuff and smacks and saying, as kids going through school, you'll have friends and they'll tell you these things are cool. If you want to be cool, do this and do that. Be cool. Stay in school. But peer pressure was looked at as a negative thing because it was supposed to be a peer pressuring you to do a negative thing. Like a real negative thing too. Like something you're not supposed to be doing. Peer pressure isn't just trying to get someone to do something they said no to. Like for instance, you want to go out to eat at a restaurant and one friend's like, it's late, I don't know. I think I'm going to go home to the wife or whatever. And you're like, oh, come on. You never come out. Just go eat with us just this one time. That's not really peer pressure. That happens all the time. People always say, oh, you don't like sushi? Well, try this. Come on, try this one. You might like this one. No, I won't like this one. But that's not technically what the phrase peer pressure was made for. And that's the type of peer pressure you get as an adult. It's not like, come on, smoke this joint, man. You want to be cool like us? Smoke this joint. It's usually not stuff like that. I'm not saying you don't run into adult friends that try to talk you into negative stuff, but that's not typical. Peer pressure is a teenage thing. And the fact that this girl doesn't understand how teenagers, people without fully developed brains, would go for peer pressure is amazing. It's simply amazing. Yes, even to that kid that agrees to the peer pressure, It probably doesn't make sense to them, but they want their friends. They don't want to be alone. They don't want to lose their group. So they do it. And at the time, they think that's worth it because to a teenager, that day, what's going on in that moment is all they have. They don't think about 10 years later. They're thinking about right now. Right now is forever to a teenager. But peer pressure doesn't make sense to everybody. No one's like, yeah, it makes sense that I want a friend that talks me into doing negative stuff. That's not profound. And the fact that you think that doesn't make you autistic.
Hot take, neurodivergents are basically human lie detectors. We can clock fake vibes, bad intentions, and lies pretty much in 3 seconds flat. And yes, sometimes we know before you know. Call it hyper-awareness, call it hyper-focus, call it anxiety. Regardless, we're undefeated in our skills. The neurodivergent spidey senses are real.
I don't detect no fakeness or lies in that video. No fakeness whatsoever. All that smiling, all that superpower talk, the fact that she's even autistic, I can't tell if it's fake or not. Probably because I'm not autistic, but I'm not a terrible guy. I'm gonna give her some advice. Since she believes that autistic people have superpowers that can read through fakeness, BS, lies, then I suggest to her that she stop being fake and full of BS and lies. And I just had another thought. Are autistic people exposing liars everywhere or something? What makes them think they know that people are lying? How did this myth start that autistic people know when someone's lying? Why not be a professional poker player then? Or maybe we should make professional jury groups and all of them could be fake autistic people. There's no way anyone's getting away with a crime now. All the judge would have to do is ask the person, so, did you delete that guy or not? No, I didn't. Then he could look over to the jury and see if they do this or this.
You just want to know why all of a sudden a lot of adults are saying that they have autism because they're figuring out that they have autism. It's insane how information can travel through people and then people become aware of new things. And then that information, because it is so life-changing for so many people, can spread like wildfire. And being autistic is not some fad or like contagious thing. I don't know. But understanding yourself is very contagious. 80% of women that are autistic go undiagnosed until adulthood. That's a shitload of missed people. That is a shitload. That is a whole portion of society that has been missed. And there's a shitload of autistic men out there too that are figuring out just now that they're autistic as adults. Psychology is forever changing. Science is forever changing. There's always new things to learn. And this entire generation of people that have had no context for their inner experience being so different from their peers and from those around them for their entire lives are just now figuring it all out. And the context is literally life-saving.
That was the longest way to say because of social media. There are more adult people saying they're autistic because social media is pushing this. And then people go,
Hey, that's how I think. Hey, that's how I feel. And since that person says they feel that way because they're autistic, that makes me autistic too.
And also, just to decode, when they say late diagnosed, they're talking about they diagnosed themselves later in life. Since they're not really autistic and a doctor didn't diagnose them as autistic, they learned from social media that they're autistic. And so now they all come out and say they're autistic. They don't have any medical stuff backing this up. Anytime they say they're late autistic, 99% of the time, they are saying, I diagnosed myself late. Otherwise, if someone asks, why are all of a sudden all these adults having autism? Why wouldn't the answer be because the doctors are finding out they have autism and they missed their diagnosis earlier in life? That's not their answer. She went on a long spiel about how they spread information to each other online. Also, a lot of them go on Reddit. Now, as you guys know, from parts 1, 2, and 3, I like to do a callback. Just like a comedian, where they start a show with some sort of joke, and then at the very end of the show, they come back to that joke in some way and it ties together, and you're like, oh. Well, I kind of do that. I just bring back the first person on this video to finish this video. See how genius I am? So much thought goes into my videos.
I have autism, which means I will ruminate over something that happened literally years ago. I also have this thing called anger rumination, and a lot of autistic people experience this, is where if someone brings up something that reminds me of a situation, I feel like I'm back in that situation again, and I get so pissed off. I feel the same amount of anger that I did when I was in that situation, and it is so exhausting. But it also means that I remember a lot of things. I have a pretty good memory for when people mistreated me, so if anyone wants to come at me, I have the receipts. And that's the only thing I like about rumination. And yes, I will seek revenge if needed.
Well, damn, I can't lie. That's very different from me. I forget when people do me wrong. One time, I was inviting this guy over, and one of my friends had to remind me, that was the dude that slapped me in my face. What in the fuck is she talking about? People always remember when someone does you wrong. People remember stuff from the past. And sometimes, if it's bad enough, if it was personal enough, if it pissed you off enough, hurt you enough, if you think about it or get triggered about that situation again, you can get just as pissed. I bet there's tons of guys that probably, let's say, walked in on their wife cheating, and I'm sure when they think about it again, they get just as pissed. And I'm sure there's a few pervert freaks out there that get excited, but you get what I'm saying. How the hell does remembering bad stuff in your life connect with having autism? That's normal human stuff. Again, what's with these fake autistic people assuming that what they go through, how they process stuff, how they hold on to certain things is special to them? It's not just part of life. It's not just being a human being and just being different. No, only autistic people do this, or fake autistic people anyways. Real autistic people ain't saying none of this weird ass stuff. Could you imagine being in therapy and you're talking about some traumatic event in your life or someone that did you really wrong, and you tell the psychiatrist, you know, every time I think about it, I get just as pissed. And he sits there, sorry, or she sits there and goes, have you ever thought that maybe you're autistic? You know what I'm starting to think? Maybe it's this. Maybe these fake autistic people really aren't trying to fake it and lie to everybody. What really happened is someone told them they are artistic and they heard autistic. But really, they're just good at drawing and shit. But no matter if you're artistic or autistic, I'm still gonna need you to hit that bell like the hunchback. Also click that hitchhiker button and sub-ride with me. And I'll see you on the next trip.
Day and night. Keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real.